Aphrodite by Katherine Boorstein.
Let us tell you a story.
Lend me your ears.
Sit back.
But don't relax quite yet.
Let us tell you a story.
Her story.
Their story.
My story.
Of a girl named Aphrodite.
My name is Aphrodite Christdale. My parents were aristocrats, and my sister Carmen and I lived in a lap of luxury. Our story begins the afternoon before a party. My party. My sister and I were preparing. Aphrodite, may I help you get ready? No, let me help you get ready. No, really, it's your party, and it may be my birthday party, but it's your birthday too. So, now sit. I'm going to style your hair. Aphrodite, why are you doing my hair up? You're the only one of us looking for a groom tonight. So maybe my handsome prince will have a younger brother. My sister and I were very close. Best of friends. I'm not sure she fully realized that she was the perfect one. I was flawed. My parents saw everything in her. She wanted to give them everything in return. I knew at least she saw it in me. I was the only one who treated her like an average girl. But I knew far too well that I was the average one. She was anything else.
Well, I'm very pleased to meet you, Brian.
Likewise. Say, what brings you to Aphrodite Christdale's party?
Is that who all this is for?
You didn't know?
Of course not. I didn't bother myself with it. An open bar is nowhere nearly as guest of honor, my friend, is nowhere nearly as important as an open bar.
Well, watch out, Mr. Hunt, because Miss Christdale is looking for a groom, and my parents are hoping it will be me.
I wish you luck with that. Excuse me, I'm going to get myself a Guinness.
Look, another guest. Mr. Brian Chaunsley. Rather handsome, isn't he? Very.
Why, hello there, Miss Christdale. May I inquire as to the name of the beautiful young lady behind you?
It's Carmen Christdale, sir.
Please, call me Bryant, if you please.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Bryant. I must remark that it's a lovely evening to, excuse me for a moment.
You look beautiful tonight, Miss Carmen.
I'm sorry, but I don't recall ever having met you before.
We have met. I'll remember a face like yours. What brings you here?
This is my party, of course, to search for the most eligible bachelor.
I'm more than Hunt. I don't frequent high society social occasions often.
Then what brings you here tonight?
Tonight, your doorman didn't see me soon enough to turn me away. And an open bar is too good for this salesman to pass up. Although, you must admit I do look the part of a charming gentleman.
I cannot say if I might be so bold. You're extraordinarily handsome.
But who would look at me when I'm standing so close to such an extraordinary, exquisitely beautiful girl?
This is pleasant, but I'm afraid my parents wouldn't approve at all.
Perhaps we could take a stroll?
No, I think we better not.
Sometimes chances are worth taking. Or are you frightened?
Come, you know the perfect place.
That night, I fell in love. Carmen was everything I had dreamed of. She was smart, pretty, but modest and gentle in her ways. Once I left the party that night, I knew we were meant to be.
Warren was nothing like I had dreamt of, except for the fact that he was handsome and charming beyond compare. He wasn't rich and my parents would never approve, but I loved him anyway. Of course, this was too good to last. My parents announced the next morning that I was to be married.
My mother told me she had found me the perfect wife.
I was to marry Brian Chaunsley.
I was betrothed to Aphrodite Christdale. Of course, Carmen and I were heartbroken.
I was heartbroken. I knew I could not tell Warren, nor could I refuse the marriage, so I chose to do neither. After all, it's what I always wanted before that night. So I'd be strong and I would accept it.
Carmen knew her sister had no objection to the marriage, so she swore to me that she would change Aphrodite's mind. She promised to meet me at the depot before I left for Boston and tell me what she could. She was to talk to Aphrodite that very afternoon.
Please, I beg of you, you cannot marry Bryant.
Why not, Carmen? Why shouldn't you want me to marry him like everybody else?
Well, I was speaking to him the other night, and
Yes, you were, weren't you? For quite some time. It was almost as if you never left his side. Carmen, are you in love with Bryant?
yes, Aphrodite, I am, and he loves me too. Please, isn't there anybody you would like more in the world?
I met a man last night.
Go on.
His name was Warren Hunt. He's confessed your sister is my greatest wish to marry him. But never agreed.
You've been taking orders from mother and father your whole life. Don't you think it's time for once you let your heart decide?
Perhaps it is, and perhaps it isn't, but my marrying Bryant would make my sister unhappy. Well, I very well do so, can I? You're sure this is what you want?
More than the world, Aphrodite.
And it's settled.
So it was settled.
When Carmen met me at the depot, she told me that Aphrodite was to offer Warren her hand in marriage. Carmen would write me in Boston, and, well, if Aphrodite accepted, I would marry Carmen.
He would marry Aphrodite. I was furious when I saw the news in the papers. I thought I had actually met a girl I could settle down with. But she's engaged the next day and hasn't bothered to tell me. I was so mad, I went down to the local bar and drank until I couldn't see straight. Then staggered back to my flat. And she showed up.
Warren, dear, are you in?
You. What do you want?
Are you all right?
All right. How can I be all right? You lied to me.
Warren, I came here to offer you my hand.
Oh, but Brian's getting much more than that.
Whatever do you mean? I'm asking you to be the one.
Just shut up!
Perhaps I should leave.
You'll leave if I tell you to.
Please listen to me. I love you and
Liar.
what?
Liar! You're a liar! Ah!
Aphrodite didn't return home that night.
I don't remember what happened. I woke up by the river, remembering only I had done something I knew I would regret.
The next day, her corpse was found floating in the river.
A week later, I saw Aphrodite's obituary in the papers. I knew I killed her.
I knew it was my fault.
Carmen never sent for me, so I never returned to her.
Only I had pressured her to see Warren that night. I knew we couldn't have afforded to live in a safe part of the city. My poor gentle sister must have been murdered walking home.
A month later, I heard that Aphrodite had died, and I knew it was my fault. Warren must have said no, and consumed with revulsion for the life she would be forced to lead with me. Aphrodite must have taken her own life. So I felt guilty.
At first, all I could do was cry. It seemed I was destined to stay meek and frightened and silent. For the first time in my life, that was not all right with me.
How did I feel? I was disgusted with myself. So I fell into a deep depression. What did anything matter anymore?
What could I do? I killed her! So, I packed my bags and moved to Columbus and pledged to become a better man. I got a job, I got a life, and I got off alcohol for good.
So I fought back. I published ads in the paper advertising her reward. I spent hours by the river where she was found, searching for missed clues. I wasn't shy anymore. I was a machine. I investigated, interrogated, and would not stop until I found out how she was killed.
My parents found me bride after refused to meet even one. None of them was Carmen. I always thought she would forgive me. But guess I never.
I worked hard to be a better me, but it never brought her back. It tortured me that I didn't even know how I killed her. How had I done it? Why? Why didn't I stop myself?
but I never know for sure.
How was Aphrodite murdered?
Would Carmen have forgiven me?
Why didn't I stop myself?